All right, Ghosterdriver. Ghosterdriver has a shot to qualify for the invitational. So Ghoster been on fire for the last couple of months now, winning so many different tournaments. Let's see if he will be able to qualify for this invitational coming up as well. Going up against Ranu, who is new to the scene. Have not seen a lot from Ranu in the duels Runeterra space. So let's see who will be able to move on to the invitational.
Ghosterdriver fighting for his tournament life has continued on in this winner's bracket side.
Yeah, we're going to get Ghosterdriver and Ranu here in just a second. It looks like they are about to queue up. So we'll just give it a couple seconds here as they get everything situated, and we are good on our end. It looks like they are issuing the challenge, and looks like the ASOL deck starting here. We're getting into game one, so Ranu versus Ghosterdriver. Wow, we got that machine gun game right now. We just game after game after game.
I feel bad because I know that our game ends, we were immediately told to hop on a channel, and the players have been sitting there for a while waiting to get started. I mean, they really are waiting on us. So, I mean, I feel a little bad, but not too bad. Sorry, and it looks like we still have, I want to say, at least 4 matches to bring you guys.
Yeah, something like that. So we strap yourselves in, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We have a long night of Legends of Runeterra ahead of us, and it starts again with Ranu versus Ghosterdriver, game 1. And it looks like we have an Aurelian Soul deck versus, is this TF Swain or Pirate Aggro?
This is the Nab with Noxus.
Or the Nab with Noxus. That was going to be my third guess. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different combinations with Noxus and Bilgewater now, and the Nab with Noxus actually seems to be doing quite well in this tournament.
I mean, we've seen... I don't actually know how well it's doing because, like I said, the first time that I saw the deck list, apparently the player had actually brought Pirate Aggro, and it was showing me the wrong list for some reason.
Okay. And Ranu, just going to go ahead quickly and pull up Ranu's decks here. I'm going to see what kind of Aurelian Soul they've opted to bring.
It's Leona ASOL with the Radiant Guardian, the Concerted Strike, and the single combat. The version that we've seen a couple of players move towards if they're not a big fan of the Lux ASOL. You know, you just take out the Lux in Remembrance, replace it with Leona and Ravoon, and, you know, add in the Mountain Scryer, dash that in somewhere by the cards that you take out. And, yeah, you basically got a similar deck.
Wow, awesome.
One that's going to be a little better poised against the aggressive decks, and that's kind of what Ghosterdriver has brought here. I mean, anytime you see a Nap deck, I'm willing to call it an aggressive deck, not necessarily an aggro deck, but I feel like there are a lot of decks in Legends of Runeterra that feel like they kind of walk the line of aggro and mid-range, and I think that's just kind of the way that the turn order for the game is set up, the way spell mana works out. I mean, we saw Len earlier, his deck topping out at 5 mana is insane, even for an aggro deck. I mean, even Jinx Draven caps out at 6.
Yeah, and just a quick update for everybody else, too. Just going down to the losers bracket here. Kukin and Utono Dorado are playing for their lives right now. Pinex and Rogio. Colby M68 versus Guardia. Why does it say Lion? Oh, yeah, Lion King is going to play the winner of that. And then Insulinado is playing Sari right now. So Guardia's still in it. That's where my money's on. We'll see how far he's able to make it here in the tournament.
Oh, pretty slow start out of Ghosterdriver. I always kind of hope when we see a slow start out of the Nab deck that they're just building up for a big Nab turn, but Ghosterdriver doesn't play any copies of Pilfered Goods, so that's not really going to be on the table. But, I mean, maybe next turn we're going to see like a warning shot into double... Oh, never mind. Going to fire off the warning shot now. Is it going to be a Merchant and a Butcher?
Looks like the Merchant is a go. We'll see if it's followed up with the Jagged Butcher here in a second. Really curious to see how Ranu is going to go ahead and utilize this Crescent Strike in a little bit as well, but does decide to go in with the Shield Bearer here for the attack. Always good to go in for the attack with the Shield Bearer. Get the value on that health before it dips back down to 2, and we'll see if Ghosterdriver, nope, as usual, just going to let that 3 through.
If he really wants to, he can fire off the single combat here for sort of full value. I don't really like the idea of doing that. While you are playing very health efficient, I think that there are much higher priority targets that you need to save that for than, you know, a 3-2 Jagged Butcher, and you really want to wait for your Radiant Guardian to get online. And Ghosterdriver You know, they talk about people who cannot miss. Ghosterdriver just keeps on missing. He is 1 for 4 on these Yordle grifters.
Oh my
And he's
God.
only playing 6 Noxus cards. He followed the rules.
I mean,
he followed all the rules.
Is that following the rules, though? We've seen people go with Demacia decks, just axing anything not Demacia just to hit Bannerman. Is this what things have come to for Yordle Grifter now?
I mean, so here's what I'm going to say. Ghosterdriver won 3 tournaments with 3 Allegiance decks. He has now whiffed Allegiance 3 times on this grifter. That is payback for all 3 of those wins. We shouldn't see him miss another Allegiance for the remainder of this tournament.
Well, here's what I'll say. He's missed this many Allegiances, and he's still winning. So what does that tell you about Ghosterdriver still being able to get those clutch wins, missing these Allegiances? And what I will say, too, that Allegiance on Yordle Grifter has actually come in huge, because now the warning shot does not get into hand unless you hit the Allegiance effect, and that has mattered quite a lot when we've seen Ghosterdriver play.
And this could be a relatively good swing turn for Ghosterdriver. Turn 5, we could see that Gangplank come down, and really no great answer out of it. No great answer for it out of Ranu. Is it Ranu or Ranu? I'm gonna say Ranu.
I'm gonna say Ranu.
Okay, yeah. So picks up. Is that another copy of the Traveler?
Looks like it. We're gonna have another Traveler. Just keep the Traveler train rolling, which you can't really complain. I mean, it's like free units, right? So could be worse.
Yeah.
And we see Zap.
Do you hush to block this on the following turn, or maybe even single combat it? We know that players who have been playing against the nab decks have been very careful to make sure that no damage is getting pushed through in any instance where they can prevent it. And this doesn't really feel like a matchup where the hush is going to get a whole lot of value later on.
Yeah, Hush is going to be hard to really utilize in this matchup, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it come out. We actually saw, I think, was it this exact matchup where we saw double Hush on a 2-zap spray fins? Yeah. So that might be what we see again. I don't think it'll be this turn. I mean, I feel like you want to get 2 Hushes off, but, oh, man, yeah, gonna go ahead.
I mean, there's not a lot of Hush value to find in a matchup like this. The sort of best use case I can think of is, preventing a barrel from, pumping up a removal spell to either hit you or anything like that. But now we're going to see Ranu roll the dice, but doesn't miss his Allegiance. And, could take the Crescent Strike. I think I like the Warrior here, but the Destroyer is not a bad option either. He's going to go for the Warrior.
Yeah, there we go. So the 4-cost Warrior in hand, thanks to Mountain Scryer. Actually, that one I feel like I always forget the name, but Mountain Scryer on the field, reducing all the Celestials by 1 in hand. So we see the return, Mountain Scryer. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Ghosterdriver with Allegiance again. This game is rigged. I'm going to need a restart, actually.
Ghosterdriver has got to be so tilted. Oh, my God. So is that 4 Allegiances that Ghosterdriver we've seen him miss?
I mean, to be fair, there are no Targon cards in his deck. It's literally impossible.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe you
I totally just fell for that. Jesus. I'm so used to saying Ghosterdriver is missing Allegiances. It's just like, it just feels like it works. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that Mountain Scryer is Targon.
I feel like we're in a buddy cop movie where, like, you're an alien species and just you take everything literally. And anytime I try to throw in a little jab, it's just like you take it very literally. Like, yeah, no Targon card on top of Ghosterdriver deck.
Wait, so is there a way he shuffled one in, though? Is that a possibility?
I mean, if you had... So there is a card that shuffles 5 messengers into your deck,
but
I don't think there's any way for him to randomly generate it.
No, that's not a Celestial. No, that's just a regular card.
Yeah, it's just a Targon card. I don't think there's any way to, just randomly generate that. Ooh, the Supernova, a big pickup for Ranu, though. As Ghosterdriver has so far represented a pretty weak hand, we haven't really seen any of these top ends come out. Granted, from, turn 6 and 7, you're not seeing anything too big if we didn't see anything on 5. And we could just be saving up for a big turn with a Riptide Rex, or, as we had mentioned, that Captain Farron.
Gotta love me some Captain Farron, baby. Love seeing it come down. We'll see if Ghosterdriver has it. I think when we've seen him play with this deck earlier, he never got Captain Farron, right? That was one of the reasons why he lost with this deck, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that is something he's able to get his hands on in this game. But Pale Cascade going to come down to go ahead and buff up this Traveler, grabbing him a single combat. Not bad. So also going to save this Traveler on the field.
I can never tell if hitting face here is a high roll or not for Ghosterdriver, because I know you do want to tick towards that Gangplank evolution, but I mean, maybe he was aiming for something else. He did hit the Traveler that he wanted to hit, so I mean, that's about as high roll as you can hope for, I guess, but Ranu does have the Pale Cascade to save it, and now it looks like we're going to take out this Mountain Scryer, which I do like, kind of playing with the health totals of your units, trying to make a Riptide Rex as awkward as possible for your opponent, and sort of get the least amount of reductions of hits that a unit is going to take to kill.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to see the challenger. Sorry, the challenge. See, I did it again. The warrior challenging the mountain scryer here. Petty officer lined up on the block for the traveler, which feels bad because it only has 1 health left. After that, make it rain. But got to do what you got to do. Preserve that life total on the side of Ghosterdriver. Is going to get 3 damage pushed through with the other traveler. And honestly, Ranu is in a great position. I mean, sure, okay, Ravenous Flock, you get rid of my warrior, but I have 6 cards in hand, 2 on field to your 3. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ranu has a pretty good chance of taking this one home.
I mean, now we're on turn 8. This is where Ghosterdriver's deck really turns on. This is where the Riptide starts to come down. We do have a removal out the wazoo for Ranu, but we don't actually have any threats. If a Riptide comes down here and your response is to either obliterate it or play a Ravoon, and if we get baited into playing a Ravoon before the Riptide comes down, yeah, I do just kind of like this pass back on the side of Rain who says, you know what, eventually you are going to have to put a card on the table, or I'm just going to kill you in a couple of turns.
Yeah, and this is representing 5 more damage. Ghosterdriver getting critically low here for the Nexus health. And, I mean, you mentioned Riptide. Ghosterdriver at this point just like needs some back-to-back Riptide action to really stay in this game, and I don't know if he's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, this would not be the first time that we've seen him punished for missing that Yordle Grifter Allegiance, and the nerf really coming into effect, not getting that warning shot. But now Captain Farron going to eat up the Supernova, so that is the removal on, or at least the big removal on the side of Ranu, going to get used out here.
Yeah, and again, just, you know, Captain Farron's great and all, but we already see a Guiding Touch coming out. These 3 Decimates are essentially going to be useless because we get 3 Star Shaping on the side of Ranu. We have 2 Guiding Touch.
Let me tell you about Decimate as a Riptide Rex activator.
Okay, that is a thing.
But I'm pretty sure Ranu's, oh, well, no, it is Ghosterdriver's attack turn, so we could see Decimate into Riptide, which is a sort of one of the more odd ways that we've seen a Riptide activated, but
it works. It gets the job done, and that's all Ghosterdriver needs. So would be curious. I actually would be happy to see that because I don't think we've seen that chain of events actually happen this entire tournament yet. But I don't even know if that gets him back in this game.
I don't think it does. The Pale Cascade representing lethal on the side of Ranu from an open attack means Ghosterdriver does have to put his foot on the gas this turn. And, I mean, if Ranu even just plays an Acel, he's got a lot that he can do. Acel in single combat is going to kill literally anything that comes out of Ghosterdriver's deck.
Yep. Yeah, good old Aurelian Soul in hand now. That's kind of the dream. You finally got there. And, yeah, here's exactly what we're expecting with the Decimate into Riptide Rex. Going to rip through Ranu's field and also present a 7-attack unit. But I imagine we'll just see the Aurelian Soul summon basically for free now, and it will absolutely prevent the Riptide from being able to attack. Do you attack with the Riptide anyways to try to remove the Aurelian Soul if you have, you know, any sort of removal in hand?
Well, the Acel has a spell shield. You have no mana. You would have to have, like, not Warning Shot. You would have to have, like, Make It Rain and Ravenous Block. But I think you don't attack with the Riptide just because if everything plays out like you kind of want it to, you at least have the blocker if Ranu goes for an open attack. But this is what we were worried about, right? Is the Acel into the single combat is going to kill anything Ghosterdriver plays.
Yeah, Ghoster, I think, knows it's over at this point, especially because this Aurelian Soul is just going to stick to the board and be able to level up. And Ranu going to take it home there. And Ghosterdriver, I got a feel for the man. Just losing games left and right because of missing allegiance, for seemingly anyways. I mean, it definitely seems like that's one of the major reasons, and feels really bad. He just keeps missing so many of them.
All right, we are going to get onto a potential match point here for Ranu, see if he can find his way into the invitational lineup alongside Vig and Sharkui so far.
You think he's going to go with deck 1, or 1, or 1, I don't know. This is a hard one.
I can't tell if the Warning Shot would have changed much. It definitely would have let the Rex actually come down a lot earlier, so it's pretty hard to say for sure.
Well, yeah, because that means the Rex would have been down before the Aurelian Soul could have came down. So, I honestly, I think because I think the same thing happened that game where the Riptide Rex was in his hand most of the game, and he wasn't able to use it because of no Warning Shot. He actually had to wait till a turn 8 Captain Farron to even get a chance to play it.
Yeah, there's also potential for the stolen card to have come out.
Yeah,
and had a big impact. Anytime that you steal something that invokes, the game gets out of control.
And it looks like now we're going to have Twisted Fate Swain versus Twisted Fate Gangplank. We'll see which Twisted Fate deck is going to win out here. And looks like a decent hand for Ranu. Going to go ahead and lock that one in. House Spider and Zap Sprayfin to start things off. And we'll see what Ghosterdriver is able to scrounge up here. And if it really... All right, hold on. All right, I was going to say, there's no Allegiance cards in this deck. So... He wins.
Yeah, what do you want, Basilisk Rider?
Yeah, he wins because there's no Allegiance cards. This is this is exactly what Ghosterdriver needed to get back in this match.
I mean, there's nothing more tilting than you throwing down an Allegiance and missing, and then your opponent throws it down and just gets it.
Especially Bannerman. If it's like a Bannerman mirror and that happens, you just want to like insta surrender.
So we saw this matchup a little bit earlier, and I believe Ghosterdriver ended up falling, though we kind of thought he was favored because he just does kind of baseline have more Riptide Rexes.
Yeah, and the attack token going to go over to Ranu, and already with a Leviathan and Swain in hand. So Ranu possibly going to try to go for a very early Leviathan on board here, possibly an early Swain too. We'll see.
So Ramp has been very prevalent in the meta, and anyone who plays Ramp is a goofball because you can just handshake your opponent to skip the first 4 turns of the game.
Yep.
And that's as good as ramping.
We've seen it a lot too. But we do see the House Spider come out from Ranu here, and oh my God, wait, wow, that's a Yordle Grifter on the field, and there's a warning shot.
The Yordle Grifter animation is so delayed that I keep thinking that Ghosterdriver's whiffing it when he's hitting it.
Oh, I know. So I was looking at like the completely wrong deck. There is still the Yordle Grifter. So all right.
Yeah. Ghosterdriver didn't switch.
No. Yeah, I think I was thinking like Ranu. I got them both mixed in my head, but yeah. Thank God, Ghosterdriver hitting Allegiance. So this good things are happening in this game.
Gonna see a block onto the House Spider. It's still a fair amount of damage push through on the side of Ranu, who I feel does have to try and be the aggressor in a matchup like this, just because he does have so many low to the ground units that aren't going to get value in the late game. These House Spiders are generally in the deck to stalwart early aggression, but also just kind of as Noxian Fervor fodder, as none of the units in your deck really survive your own Noxian Fervor outside of your heavy hitters like Swain, Leviathan, and Rex. Everything else is kind of going to die, and that's why you play so many token-like units. Are we willing to... Okay, here's a question. Is TF Swain more of a token deck than Endure?
Oh, no way, not even close. No, Endure has too many generators for tokens. That's insane.
I mean, I think TF Swain might have more token generators.
Did you drink too many monsters? Did you drink too many?
If you count Kegs' tokens.
Still no. Endure has so many tokens, dude.
Name 5.
I don't want to do this.
Well, it's just Blighted Caretaker. Hold on. I guess I'm not counting Escaped Abomination as a token.
Like, yeah, you have Cursed Keeper, and then Blighted Caretaker alone is like 3 in 1, right? So that's, I mean, I think having 3 Blighted Caretaker alone just puts it over the top. So listen, have another monster, chill out, all right?
Oh yeah, drink some caffeine and chill out.
Yeah, that'll work.
Not how that works.
As he chugs some more monster.
Oh, man,
gotta do what you gotta do. Hey,
here for a good time. Speaking of a good time, Ranu having a pretty good time in the early game. His Make It Rains lining up kind of as I want to say as he wants them to, but also not really. I think he would have liked to hit the Gangplank with that first one, not have to use the second Make It Rain to line up that flock. But Make It Rain, even when it works, I feel like there are a lot of matchups where we look at it and you're staring down something like War Mothers, for example. You're looking at this Tryndamere and Trundle on your opponent's side of the field, and you're looking at the 2 Make It Rains in your hand going, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, pretty wide field from Ranu right now too. Ghosterdriver, curious to see what he decides to do next. I'm going through Ghosterdriver's deck and Ranu's deck, and I keep confusing which one I'm looking at because they're basically the same thing with all the same colors. It's really difficult right now figuring out which deck I'm looking at.
You can easily identify Ghosterdriver's deck by the amount of 1s next to everything in the spell lineup.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Would have made a great Submersible deck, but unfortunately just not quite in the right regions for that.
Hey, we've seen Submersible have some success today, okay? Or, well, I wouldn't say success.
This TF could actually be pretty bad for Ranu. It taps you out of Death's Hand, and if we see Make It Rain as the response out of Ghosterdriver, this could clean up a pretty significant portion of the board.
Yeah, Make It Rain would be huge here from Ghosterdriver, especially with that keg on board. Obviously he's got to high roll a little bit if he does want to go ahead and kill something like the Zap Spray Fin and the Twisted Fate, probably the two priority targets there that Ghosterdriver is worried about. And the other important thing though is, again, lest we forget, Twisted Fate does have a level 2. So let's try to keep an eye on it this time so he doesn't surprise us with a level 2 in this game and just end up ripping a hole through Ghosterdriver's field with all the wild cards flying out. And wow, okay, just going to go for the open attack here. Pulling the keg, wants to prioritize getting rid of that bad boy so that he's not really worried about something like Make It Rain any longer. And can we just... That is a Gangplank with no progress towards its level up on turn 7.
Yeah, it's not feeling great for Ghosterdriver here, but I think this might be the first game where we actually get to see Ghosterdriver go into turn 8 with a warning shot. And I am pretty curious to see how that one actually works out for him.
That feels so bad. That you just had to make that statement. That feels terrible for Ghosterdriver.
I'm telling you what's happening. That's my job as a commentator. So I'll let you guys know what's going on.
You don't gotta rub it in his face though. Like
he can't hear me.
We don't know that. He could have our stream up. Okay.
That would be
actually
very bad.
That would be bad. Actually, never mind. I take that back. Ghosterdriver, if you're listening, I hope you're not listening.
All right, so this is going to be actually the first tick towards the Gangplank evolution, the TF. Not having a keg alongside him does feel pretty bad, but you are still going to get to clean up these spiderlings and make It Rains a little more appealing. What are we going for here? Is it the gold card? Is it the red card?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Is it a blue card? I think red card sort of makes the most sense. The Death's Hand is really what you're going for here as far as cleanup goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is still going to put the Gangplank in range, as you had mentioned, totally off the table in terms of leveling up anytime soon to sort of dodge that Death's Hand.
Yeah, Death's Hand will be able to put this away for the Gangplank, which is really good. I mean, obviously, Gangplank is a huge threat for Ranu right now. I mean, at least right now, we're about to hit turn 8, which means Ranu is going to start coming online with some things like Leviathan. Actually has been saving and holding on to this Swain as well. So I imagine once turn 8 hits, we're going to see Leviathan drop, and we're just going to see every turn after that big, beefy threats hitting the board, starting with Leviathan, followed by Riptide and Swain. And this is going to be really hard for Ghoster to deal with.
All right, this is what I wanted to see. Here we go. Battle of the 8 drops, baby. This is where you start seeing the Slugfests come out, the Riptides firing off from all sides of the field. And what if Ghosterdriver, we still haven't seen that stolen card, have we?
I don't believe so, no, because I actually forgot he even stole a card because I just assume he always misses Allegiance now. So
it's hard to tell because they're playing so many of the same cards. I haven't been tracking of what came to the right of it. It's usually a little bit easier when, the warning shot just being reversed on the card. That visual thing is just really weird. Throwing me off.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, he got 2 in one game. This is a good omen for Ghosterdriver. This must be good luck.
What's not good is that he didn't play an 8 drop on turn 8.
Yeah. And we are looking to see an 8 drop with Riptide on turn 8 from the side of Ranu, it looks like now, instead of the Leviathan. And this is going to clear the board and then set up for going into another turn with, potentially a Leviathan. We could even just see the Swain pop down and put a little bit more pressure on Ghosterdriver with that fearsome attacker.
I don't necessarily hate either play here. You're pushing a lot of damage one way or the other. Make It Rain just going to come out to clear out the field of Ranu, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. The Riptide Rex is still going to come down for Ghosterdriver, or for Ranu rather, or the Leviathan. I think I like the Riptide a little bit more to play conservative with my life total, and I'm still going to push a fair amount of damage onto my opponent, unless we see I always have to wonder what happens if we see all 7 shots line up onto one unit.
Wow, this is all right. So a little bit of damage pushed through to Ranu, but here comes the Riptide.
I think this has a better chance of this is a better chance of presenting lethal because now the open attack is a little bit scary.
Yeah, the open attack just presents lethal. This
does mean that your follow-up turn is a little bit weaker. If you had gotten the Leviathan down here, then just the chip damage that you're getting in could present, it sets you up for a better Riptide turn on your attack turn. Mm-hmm. And maybe that is a consideration that Ranu had, but we are going to see the Riptide. And now Ghosterdriver, I would have to assume that without an 8 drop, he has to have some kind of blocker for 4 mana.
Yeah, I don't see him not. Something like another Petty Officer could come down. Even an Arachnoid Sentry would feel bad to play it now, utilizing that stun, but...
He doesn't play Sentry.
Oh, looking at the wrong deck again.
You're looking at... Yeah.
I keep switching it back and forth. Oh, no. All right, so we have Petty Officer. He's already played 2 Yordle Grifters, so we could get... the Black Market Merchant comes down, so it did... All right, wow, okay. So we'll see if Ranu is going to take... All right, Ranu probably not going to take the open attack now.
What is it with this card?
We've seen 3 of these now today.
You like Beetlejuiced it. You said it's like the opposite. You said its name once and it has appeared 3 times.
Yep. This Star Shepherd, for those of you who might not know the card's name.
I didn't even know. This is my 3rd time seeing it, and I forgot the name of Star Shepherd.
So I don't think you ever open attack here. Leviathan, it looks like he is possibly thinking about open attack. I feel like developing Leviathan or Swain is just a better option.
I think he kind of wants to see what his opponent does, but I do want to agree with you that I would have liked to see a Leviathan come down, just because you are going for the attack. You know, the overwhelm damage can actually help you represent lethal on the following turn. I think what Ranu's a little bit worried about is a Riptide Rex coming out of Ghosterdriver before his attack actually goes off, but I have to think that if Ghosterdriver had a Riptide, we would have seen it come down last turn. So I guess just playing respectfully of the top deck, or the possibility that one was stolen from him, as we did see a Yordle Grifter last turn.
So, yeah, I mean, this does kind of, it makes it so Ghosterdriver can't really get a Riptide down right now.
He couldn't have stolen one. Both of them are in Ranu's
Yeah,
hand.
so...
Forgot he only plays 2.
So Ghoster kind of is in an awkward spot now. Can't really play the Riptide, and now Leviathan is going to be able to come down a little bit more safely. So maybe that's kind of what Ranu was going for there. And if that's the case, I do tend to like that play, being able to get that Leviathan down and almost guarantee that it is going to live. On the side of Ghoster, there is a Noxian Guillotine, so there are some shenanigans he could pull to get rid of this Leviathan here, but I don't know if you go that much out of the way just to get rid of this Leviathan. Wow.
Apparently, Ghosterdriver, we thought he was the Allegiance King, but now he's just the king of the petty officer.
Yeah. So, lots of petty officers coming down on the field here. Lots of petty officers coming down.
This actually could be lethal for Ghosterdriver. There's only 2 units on Ranu's side of the field, but he could top deck a Noxian Fervor here. Leviathan is nothing. This could be Ghosterdriver getting the swing back that he needed. Card advantage be damned. Big, beefy 8-drops be damned. We have 4 petty officers on the field.
Wow. This was really unexpected, just going super wide. Yeah,
this is a mutiny. This is 4 pirates overthrowing the Leviathan, and this is going to be a 3 damage warning shot out of Ghosterdriver. I mean, there's no reaction on the side of Ranu. This Make It Rain kills nothing. If you go for the kick, I'm going to warning shot you.
I don't think you play the Make It Rain here. I think you wait for the attack to resolve and then you play it.
You die here. You die to the warning shots.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. So so he has to play
is going to win.
Wow. See, and that's how important it is to hit the Allegiance on Yordle Grifter, because now you have warning shots. I can't
believe this. I mean, it was so close. Ghosterdriver is literally dead on the next turn. How did he end up with 4 petty officers? Apparently, that's all his sticky little fingers are capable of grabbing. And this is going to be Ghosterdriver. Moving on to the Invitational.
Wait, no, what? That was game 2.
What, is that game 2? Oh, man. I thought it was game 3. I think it's because we've seen him play that deck before, but that is him clawing his way back into the series, and now we're going to have to see what other deck he does have available to him, either going to be the Zombie Ash or the Lux Aesol.
Yeah, that was, in fact, game 2. So going to a game 3 here.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Most of these, listen, we've been here a while. We've been here all weekend. We're on hour, 20-something of casting right now, so it's okay. Ghosterdriver and Ranu, I think most of these matches we've been doing are going to 3 games now. And these are all these decide whether or not somebody is going to get qualified. So this is pretty cool. This is some pretty good gameplay we're seeing from really, really great players. Ghosterdriver really pulling it out there, and very curious to see how game 3 is going to go. So about to get started with game 3, and it looks like Aurelian Soul is going to be the deck on the side of Ghosterdriver. And we're going to get, again, TF Swain on the side of Ranu. And that means I am no longer going to confuse these decks. So, thank God for that.
Oh, man. I've never seen so many petty officers in my life.
That was not a line that I would think of taking to win that game, to be honest with you. And he had to have been setting that up for a little while, too. You don't hold 3 petty officers in hand for no reason.
I like the flavor of it, too, of just 4 officers on a ship coming in, overthrowing the Leviathan.
The pirates overthrew the ship. Gotta love to see it.
Does Ghosterdriver run the Allegiance kind of this deck? No, he has, sort of luckily for himself, I guess, gone with Lux Aesol instead of Leona Aesol, so no Mountain Scryer are going to be coming out. Although he did find a way to play Mountain Scryer in an earlier game anyway.
Yeah. So again, this is looking to be advantage Ghosterdriver on the pure fact that there are no allegiance cards in the deck. So right now, advantage Ghosterdriver.
I mean, these are the two most popular decks in the tournament, and what I consider to be arguably two of the best decks in the game for tournaments. I'm a big fan of the Lux Aesol. TF Swain is kind of my old boo. I've kind of left him to the wayside in favor of this shiny new Lux Dragon deck, so I am kind of curious. This is like a battle for my heart here.
Who will win Boulevard's Heart is the question. Is it Aurelion Sol or TF Swain? Kind of the two decks competing for. They do a lot of similar things with being control decks. So I don't know, man. I kind of like this Lux Aurelion Sol deck in this matchup.
I'm a big fan of it as well, and as we had mentioned, the pressure doesn't really come out of the TF Swain deck until turn 8, and that's really far into the game to be putting pressure onto a Lux deck. And I think the remembrances are going to be a big factor in this. We could even see Ghosterdriver, go for an attack here into a remembrance. And I think because Radiant Guardian is so difficult to deal with, if at any moment we see that come down, it just swings the game heavily into Ghosterdriver's favor. And if we see a block here into a high roll remembrance, I mean, that can literally be all it takes to completely swing the first few turns of the game. And it's an important setup turn for Ranu.
So when I mentioned that Ghosterdriver has the advantage, it might actually just be only because of Radiant Guardian. Like, that card straight up wins games and keeps people in games, and especially in this matchup, getting that on the field with something like Concerted Strike then gives you the opportunity to be able to get rid of Swain, get rid of Leviathan. You just have so many tools as the Lux Aurelion Sol deck to deal with some of these late game options on Ranu's side of the field.
So I feel like this is a situation that we saw in game number 1 that Ranu actually didn't go for, where you have this buffed up shield bearer and you just throw a single combat out to keep tempo onto a 3-attack unit and play pretty well with the health total. I like it a little bit better in this matchup. I don't think there's actually a whole lot that you get to do with the single combat outside of using it for tricks on gaining life with the Radiant Guardian. For the most part, it's going to take a Concerted Strike to take out some of the beefier units like Swain or Leviathan.
Yeah, we'll see. We got the shield bearer coming down, so I'm going to stop at least some of these attacks. But this keg and the make it rain, will we high roll? We don't.
Oh, that's the fail compilation.
Yep, yet another fail for the make it rain. High rolls just not happening for Ranu. So we'll take out one of the 2 health units, the lesser of the 2, unfortunately. And now just doesn't really have nearly as great of an attack. I don't know if you swing with everything.
You're going to lose your... I really don't like the swing with everything. You're only pushing 3 damage at your opponent, and you're losing your petty officer. And I would assume one of your 1/1s. I think that Ghosterdriver is going to play the stat game here and not trade this for the House Spider.
Yeah, I don't think Ghoster has a problem taking some damage, and it looks like he's just not going to go ahead and attack at all on the side of Ranu. And we'll see what Ghoster decides to start with here. I'm just going to go in with both shield bearers, which does kind of force the trades out from the higher attack units. So I don't mind this because this will... I mean, Ranu's still got the 1/1s on board, but Ghoster will be able to seemingly develop a little bit better this turn. I imagine we could possibly see Swain come down. I don't know if Ranu's going to want to commit it this early, especially with Ghoster still having 8 mana available.
I mean, this is the turn where Ghoster gets down this Radiant Guardian. A Swain is not sort of the most impactful thing to get down alongside it. They just kind of stare each other down. They both hit each other twice. And honestly, Radiant Guardian will survive those hits. And now we just need to see another unit come down alongside it, and the Concerted Strikes are going to turn on. Ranu has the card advantage, but the sort of card advantage that he has is in these 2 1/1s that do absolutely nothing against the Radiant Guardian. And this is where Ranu's going to start to struggle. Needs to find a little bit more generation. Does have the Zap Spray Fins. And it looks like, opening with like Death's Hand into double flock onto this does level the Swain, but if your opponent just drops another Radiant Guardian, that'd feel pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go with that. And not even that. I mean, they could drop another Radiant Guardian. They could also just play a Remembrance. I mean, it's a little bit more of a high-rolly option. You need to actually high-roll the Radiant Guardian, but I think that's just a little bit too risky to go all in on killing the Radiant Guardian there. And actually even plays the Solari Soldier to keep that option available as well, which is going to prompt Ranu to just go ahead and do some poke with this elusive Zap Spray Fin.
I don't think we've actually seen a Remembrance pop out a Radiant Guardian all day.
No, there was one. There was one. Okay. I remember you specifically saying that somebody high rolled the Radiant Guardian. I want to say it was actually Cephalopod, if I remember correctly, but I'm not positive.
He might still be in chat, so he could probably let us
know. So let's see. Yeah, wow. So actually going to play the Remembrance, get the Cavalry on field. And this is going to set up a pretty good attack turn, too, for Ghosterdriver even. Not sure if he's going to want to go in for the attack with something like Swain on field. It'd be kind of awkward, but we'll see where Ghosterdriver decides to take this turn.
I like at least going in with the Cavalier. I can sort of understand holding back the Radiant Guardian. It's so weird, because this card is such a versatile tool for you in a Demacia deck, where you can't just let it kind of hang out almost like a backline unit that just fires off concerted strikes in single combats at enemy units. It looks like now it will be set up for the Flock and the Death's Hand, but I mean, there's a lot of healing in Ghosterdriver's deck, and with Radiant Guardian taking care of the face, the X healing can't just go onto the Radiant Guardian to protect her from this. And I mean, Ranu's going to be able to kill it. It just might cost him 3 spells.
Yeah, it's so much. I feel like every time we see a Radiant Guardian at the field, it's just so much needs to be invested into killing this thing. It's literally, it's a champion. Like, don't, it's not a follower. This card is a champion. It's a champion with a level 2. It's either a 5/5 naked body or it's a champion level 2 with tough and lifesteal. This thing is so good.
I'm waiting for like the 10-headed bait out of Ghosterdriver where we just see literally all 3 flocks thrown at this, and it's just like constant protection with star shaping and guiding touch.
Oh god.
At least now we get the leveled Swain, so we are going to have these Death's Hand available next turn to sort of start stunning out these units and trying to go around the Radiant Guardian. TF Swain is not the easiest deck to do that with without the Leviathan down, and as we had mentioned, the Leviathan can be pretty hard to stick, not only between the Concerted Strike, but as we saw a lot of players grabbing, that Equinox.
Yeah, Equinox is a great answer to something like Radiant Guardian. I don't know how I feel about Ranu opening with Death's Hand on Guardian. Like, you're asking to just get blown out by a Guiding Touch or a Star Shaping, and I really don't see Ghosterdriver not having one or the other here.
This will still stun a unit, so we do still have that second sort of thing. We also have the Noxian Guillotine if it's just a Guiding Touch, but it actually doesn't have anything. That could just be another Radiant Guardian coming down, though.
Well, this opens up Ghosterdriver to an attack by Swain unless we see another Radiant Guardian.
Yeah, but now we get the Death's Hand number 2 down onto the Solari Soldier, and that's going to stun the Radiant Guardian. But, I mean, even if Ranu gets off this big attack, I mean, he can use the 2 flocks to clean up the rest of the board, or even the Guillotine if he really wants to. Will have to be 2 flocks if he wants to do it all this turn, though, as he is going to be down to 5 mana.
Yeah, this will stun the Radiant Guardian, give Ranu a pretty good opportunity for a decent attack here. So we're going to have to see if Ghosterdriver has something else that he can throw down in response to try to prevent this Swain from getting the fearsome attack through. It's Solari Priestess could be played, but it's not going to get the Daybreak effects. That's probably not going to be a thing. Solari Shield Bearer would be his best bet, but we've already seen 2, I believe, come down. And yeah, it's very much looking like this Swain is going to get an attack through. Actually, could see a Concerted Strike come out here.
Yeah, that is sort of always the concern.
And honestly, we haven't seen a single one come out. I will say, so Ghostdriver actually only running 2 Concerted Strike, which seems odd. I feel like that's such a damn good card that 3 of it just makes sense in this deck.
Which card?
Concerted
Strike.
Strike.
Step away from the mic to sneeze.
Nah, sorry. 2 Concerted Strike and 3 single combat. I would usually rather see it the other way around, 2 single combat. But instead, we actually see the Hush on the Swain, which is still going to get the job done. So, still works out in the favor of Ghosterdriver. And looks like we are going to prioritize removing this Radiant Guardian now with the double flock. That's so much invested just to kill these Radiant Guardians. Oh, my God.
So the flock doesn't kill here if Ghosterdriver uses the Hush on the Radiant Guardian. I believe it will no longer be stunned, and you actually won't be able to hit it with the flock. And I think that's why Ranu didn't use the double flock, because opening with the first one means either I lose 1 to the Hush, or the second one, the Hush now no longer matters because it's a damaged unit.
Yeah, here comes Zap Spray Fang, gonna reload a little bit, so that's good. And yeah, I mean, I don't mind the double flock to kind of get rid of this Radiant Guardian for good, because you just have to. Like, it's like the longer this thing stays in the field, the more of a problem you're gonna have throughout the game. But it doesn't make it feel any better that you just use, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 cards just to get rid of 2 Radiant Guardians. Just feels really terrible. But yep, it's dead and gone. Finally, no more lifesteal Radiant Guardian on the field.
Oh, a remembrance. Is this Radiant Guardian number 3? It
oh
is!
My God.
Ghosterdriver getting paid back in spades for the amount of allegiances that he missed in game number 1 is high rolling this remembrance into the... Oh, Twisted Fate. Probably doesn't mean a whole lot, actually.
Well, you get the salvage.
But I mean, Ranu still has a lot of removal available in the hand. We still have this Noxian Guillotine. We still have the Flock. And I mean, I can't even count how many Flocks we've seen thrown out this game, how many Swains have been shuffled back into Ranu's deck.
That's backbreaking for Ranu, and not even from, like, you know, he's falling behind now, especially with that, but just from a mental perspective. Like, you're just like, Radiant Guardian, kill. Radiant Guardian, kill. Yeah, you know what? Screw you. I have another one. Radiant Guardian, good luck. Like, oh my God, this feels bad. Oh my God. And I will say, I got to agree with you though, Boulevard, right? You mentioned
gold card missing the Radiant Guardian.
You mentioned the RNG. Like, Ghosterdriver, I do think deserved this a little bit. With how much allegiances he's missed.
It's payback.
Like, and honestly, there's a greater chance that he hits this Radiant Guardian than there is of him missing allegiance. So this actually statistically is more likely to happen than how many times he's missed allegiance. So.
And now Ranu, I mean, Ranu's in a bad spot. Ghosterdriver kind of has everything that he could want and even feels safe to go in with this Lux, understanding that it's either got to be a Make It Rain or a Death's Hand or something like, oh, we're just going in with the Radiant Guardian. I don't think Ghosterdriver has any Concerted Strikes, and that does suck a little bit for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's only running 2. I don't necessarily agree with the decision to not run 3 Concerted Strike, because it does seem to be one of the meta-defining cards with so many big units like Leviathan. But Leviathan, speaking of which, gonna do some work right now with the Swain already on the board, and Ghosterdriver doesn't really have a whole lot of options. This could get spicy real fast.
I actually don't know if it can. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong here. No, I think I'm wrong here, actually. I think I'm thinking of a different game. Never mind.
Well, at least you said it, not me.
Yeah, I was thinking of... I thought we saw a Spacey Sketcher really early, and I was wondering if we had been holding on to Equinox this entire game, but I think he just ran out the Solari package in the early game, so I'm probably getting my games overlapped at this point.
And, okay, Leviathan gonna hit the field. This is good for Ranu. We'll see if Ghosterdriver does have Concerted Strike. I don't really think Ranu could play around that, really, so you do just have to jam this Leviathan, and Ghosterdriver at this point needs Concerted Strike to be able to stay in this game.
Concerted Strike actually, depending on how you line it up, I mean, it is a little bit risky to throw it onto the Cavalier because there is still Guillotine mana represented, but, I mean, it looks like he got this Lux down and now just has nothing to do with it. Where are the lasers? We need to see some of that sparky boom action coming out of the Lux if we're going to start controlling the board, because let me tell you, a 6-mana 4/5 for barrier is not really what I wanted here, and I would imagine this leads into a single combat. Otherwise we would have used this to heal the Cavalier. And it is going to be the single combat to take out the Swain. But I mean, how many of these Flocks are Swains? I think it's 2
of them, yeah. So this is going to be short-lived on the side of Ghosterdriver, thinking that he'll be good. I almost thought all 3 turned into a Swain. I was like, damn. So, yeah.
4 Petty Officer, 4 Radiant Guardian, 4 Swain.
Same thing. It's fine.
We upped the deck limit and didn't tell anybody for this tournament. But, I mean, the Lux still isn't leveled.
Yeah, Lux still not leveled up, and no cards in Ghosterdriver's hand. And oh, my God. Radiant Guardian number 3. Is that all of them?
That's all of them.
Wait, hold on.
That's all she wrote.
Is there more Remembrance left in Ghosterdriver's deck?
Yes, there are.
So that's not all of them. So there is still a chance that we get another RNGesus play out of Ghosterdriver. So we'll see if that's the case. But we are probably going to see a Swain hit the field from Ranu by the end of this turn, which will put the Swain Leviathan engine online again, and that might spell disaster for... Oh, my God. The top deck God. Ghosterdriver with the Aurelian Soul. What is going on?
I don't think this is enough, though. The Swain is going to come down alongside the Leviathan and stun out 3 units at the start of the next turn. We get a Guillotine onto this. This Swain is going to stun everything else out. I mean, the attack is big here for Ghosterdriver. I'm not sure how much of his board Ranu is actually going to lose here trying to math it out. I think it depends on if we go in for the scout attack, which I would imagine that we do.
Oh my god, I think that even if a bunch of stuff is stunned on Ghosterdriver's field and Ranu like open attacks, let's say, I think Ghoster still lives through that attack. And as long as he can live through the next turn, this Aurelion Soul is going to start coming online. And you know as well as I do, Aurelion Soul online for at least like one turn, that's game.
I cannot imagine the last time that I saw an ASOL come down in level and it wasn't immediately followed by a Living Legends.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Aurelion Soul, you guys didn't know, that's what the card does. It says, play me, get Living Legends, play Living Legends, win game. That's the card text.
So if Ghosterdriver attacks with this Aurelion Soul, though, he does open himself up to the Noxian Guillotine. It looks like he is just going to be happy to pass this one over, take the 3 stuns, and I believe that's going to hit the 2 5/5s and the ASOL. So Lux and Grizzled Ranger available as blockers.
Yeah.
With 1 Celestial card in hand, but with all of them being units or slow speed, aside from Living Legends, which just that's slow speed spell, so kind of irrelevant.
Grizzled Ranger being a blocker is kind of important though, right? It does kind of give you 2 blockers. So I'm not sure if you stun the Lux here. I think you'd want to prioritize stunning the Grizzled Ranger, but it looks like just going for the open attack gonna prevent any sort of Celestial from coming down.
So you are a little bit scared of, and this is a pretty niche situation, but because Living Legends refills your mana, if your opponent top decked another ASOL and the skies descended on you because you got a little greedy and wanted to stun a Lux, you'd be kicking yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's really hard to not open attack into any sort of Celestial deck because there's so many ways you get punished for not open attacking. So I gotta think this is the right decision for Ranu.
There's even a chance that something like, and this is going to sound crazy, but if you do see a Living Legends, you could get a Written in Stars that will search up an ASOL. Star Shaping, I was about to say, is probably the best top deck that Ghosterdriver could have hoped for. Gonna level that Lux, give him the final spark, and I do believe that this is where we see Ghosterdriver finish out the game on the following turn. We don't know what Celestials were gotten by this ASOL, but since he does invoke a 7 cost or higher at the start of turn, I'd have to imagine that Ghosterdriver got something that's going to be able to end this game.
Yeah, that Aurelion Soul top deck, all the bad luck in the world that Ghosterdriver has had today has all come to pass. And in the last 3 turns alone, wow, all that luck just getting put to the top of his deck. And the heart of the cards are with Ghosterdriver right now, one would say. This is nuts. Woo. So yeah, we're going to see if the next turn comes around, Ghosterdriver will likely be able to go ahead and just start ripping through Ranu's board. He will probably need to get rid of either the Leviathan or the Swain before the attack token swings on over to him. So hopefully he has some sort of 0 mana Celestial in hand. That is not the greatest 0 mana Celestial, but hopefully he has something else that he can play to remove some of this field on the side of Ranu.
Okay, so what we're doing here, this is a little complicated. So we're killing our Twisted Fate to pop the Spell Shield so that our next Twisted Fate can throw out a red card or a gold card or something to damage this Aurelion Soul, and then we can get the Noxian Guillotine down onto it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ranu is sort of playing this out now as best as he can, given sort of the situation that he has found himself in, or rather put himself in.
Keyword best that he can.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the best is going to cut it.
I mean, it does kind of depend on what this big Celestial that we got out of ASOL is. I mean, the Messenger could be the one that you got at start of turn, but...
And let's see what Ghoster has in response. She just like rips a Burst Speed Living Legends in response to the Noxian Fervor. Like, nah, sorry, man. Wow. Okay, actually just going to prevent the Noxian Fervor from even happening in the first place. Probably reading that, okay, this might start to set up a Noxian Guillotine here. And this is going to be rough now from Ranu. I think Ghosterdriver is going to be able to wrap this one up.
Should be. I mean, now the final sparks get to start picking off of Leviathans and Swains, and that means that Ranu's entire strategy is going to collapse before him, and it should be Ghosterdriver. I know I called it a little bit early. That was me seeing through the Matrix and what games we were going to go through. Supernova. This is the card that on sort of the day one really made Swain decks feel a little awkward if you were trying to play anything other than TF Swain. Anytime that you got those 2 down and then a Supernova followed up, you just wanted to pick up your cards and go home. I don't want to play with you anymore. My mom's calling me. The streetlights are going out. I got to go to bed.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, I guess, guys, we have to end the stream. Sorry about that.
We do still get to kill the ASOL here. We do still get to kill the Asol with the, it took a little bit of extra work to get the Asol spell shield off, but we did still kill our Twisted Fate. We are going to see the final spark come out, but killing Asol is not enough. Killing Asol is nowhere near enough. Ghosterdriver should just be able to end this one with an open attack.
Should? Are you really saying should? This game's over, Boulevard. All right.
Is it?
It's over.
You want to be the one eating your words later?
I don't know, man. Well, I mean,
no, this one's over.
I think we are in limbo. I think the game is over, and I think Ghosterdriver's top decks are just too powerful. He just is so much better at drawing cards than Ranu right now. And
the Scourge, that's the big one. The Baron Nashor coming down. Look at these celestial beings alongside this Guardian of the Battlefield, the Radiant one, a Cavalier, all these dogs and bears coming out. Oh, this is
wow.
This is a treat.
Wow. I still can't with that Aurelian Soul top deck. That was insane to see.
Yeah, Ghosterdriver found exactly the card that he needed, and now this is like, I was like looking at the damage, I'm like, hold on, but the Scourge, it does give +2/+2 and overwhelm to everything on the board, so that is going to do it. And that one of Culling Strike now coming off the top in the most useless situation you could ever possibly imagine for it, as it will hit absolutely nothing once the Scourge comes out. And now Ghosterdriver will be moving on to the Invitational. Lobster didn't make it into NA, but one German representative will still be going through, and that does mean he will be joining Shark, Gui, and Vig in that Invitational.
Wow, so congratulations to Ghosterdriver. Definitely someone that I do not mind seeing the Invitational, and definitely a force to be reckoned with when that Invitational does come up next weekend. And I am super excited to be able to be there with Boulevard to give you guys all the sweet action when that happens. But for now, all right, congrats to Ghosterdriver moving on to the Invitational, taking down Ranu. Ranu, unfortunately, not going to be getting an invite. So, as always, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope this works for you, and peace out.